It looks like I think I am live. Can somebody let me know if this is so? Hit the live button here. Want to know if in the comments section somebody can let me know what the deal is. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to get started. Let's hope it is live. I had a steak and a big hopeful prayer with the fam to get this thing rocking and rolling. So I want to cover a couple things tonight. I'm going to try my best at this live, so be patient. If there's comments, I don't know. I think I'm going to answer them properly. We'll see. So I want to cover some film I got going down with the Dolphins last year against the Bills. And I want to show how we were running in the nickel against the nickel a ton and how hopefully this year we can break the nickel with our running attack. Hey, thank you, Tony. Somebody let me know that I'm doing the right thing over here. I appreciate it, brother. So I want to do a good, 8 to 10 minutes of film study to kind of show struggles we had with our offensive line, our tight end blocking, and how maybe Chosen Anderson running out of a three-wide set might be able to break that a little bit. And certainly if we can upgrade the blocking somehow and if we can get better play out of a tight end. And then I want to talk about Chubb, who he had an interesting comment today about Rodgers. And I think it's really the spirit that all Dolphins fans should have. I'll type to you in a second, Tony. I'm trying to get my bearings over here. But Chubb had the right spirit when it came to Rodgers going to the Jets. And I think that all Dolphins fans need to embrace his spirit. It really got me excited about him. I enjoyed what he said. I'll go cover that. And then, there's a lot of talk about Cook coming. I didn't think he was coming at all. I really didn't think there was any opportunity for him to come. But there is some heat up about the talk, and a lot of fans are really pumping that he might come. But if we bring him in here, we have to really kind of take a look at the fallout, the domino effect in the cap situation as how it's going to constrict our ability to keep some players that are up for free agency at the end of the season. And then last two things, I want to cover comments that I got during the week. Some really good comments, some funny comments, some comments that knocked on me a little bit, which I enjoyed. And then last, if there's anybody there that wants to bring up some comments or thoughts that I can converse with you, bring up stuff that you're interested in talking about, I can just throw it out there and we all can kind of chat about it and come to an idea about what we think about that. We might not come to a final decision on it, but the information will be out there and we can talk about that. And personally, I don't think that anybody knows everything about football, not even Don Shula. So let's just respect everybody, what they think. We might not agree, but at least we can get some information and different opinions, because a lot of things are going to come this season that we might think are going to happen, including me, and they might not be exactly as we see them turning out to be. So without much further ado, thank you all for stopping by. Whoever's there, I don't know if anybody's there. I think Tony V is my man. He might be the only guy. I don't know. We'll see. But let's get to the film. I'm going to load it up here in a second. Hold on. I got to do the little add-on. All right. And there we go. All right. So this was the Bills playoff game, and we really didn't run the football well. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we didn't. We had Tehran, who was ripped apart. We had, what was his name? What was the guy's name? Cotton. We had Mr. Cotton in there at left guard. We had Robert Jones at right guard. And you can see at the end, Hunt was moved to the outside. Now, I'm going to cover this for a few reasons, because I hear a lot of talk that maybe we're going to go grab a guard inside. And I don't think that's the way we should go, because some people are saying maybe you'll put Hunt on edge, but Hunt has a lot of trouble on edge. And you'll see this is a dime that we're running against. And there's no way that you can come out with this look and not be able to run on a dime. So instantly you can see kind of is getting driven back a little bit. That's not what you want from your center to do on a stretch run But then at the end, you can see Hunt, he takes a false step because he gets beat on the inside a little bit. He gets a little nervous. And now he's getting sucked up. And the end is also slowing down Jones, who can't get to Tyron Johnson, who's a nickel corner at 192. And it's real difficult to get to him at this, with the way it is now. This is why it's critical for Hunt to get to that second level and peel the thing open. But he gets caught up because he's just not nimble enough and not comfortable enough on the edge. And then Johnson just comes in and cleans it up. And not being able to run on a dime is not a pretty sight. But a lot of that just had to do with Hunt not being comfortable and the guard not being nimble enough to get to the second level. And then you have to ask yourself a question. Is Hunt the kind of guy who's quick enough to get that second level? He's going to have to. We got to break these dimes and we got to break these nickels. So now, again, we've got a 12 personnel look with Ingold coming up to the line of scrimmage. He's playing the tight end. Again, you got a nickel look, but this time you got Edmonds inside. But you'll see, I believe it's Johnson. He's going to come up late, and he's playing the Sam linebacker, and he's got to get blown off the ball. But we get a little pitch here. And again, Hunt and Jones, they get sucked up a little bit. And Hunt's just not quick enough to get to Edmonds at the second level. And then Ingold is not strong enough to move 109. I mean, he's got the one hand. You can't really kill him on it because he's got the hand taped up. And so he can't really drive. And because the taped up hand's on the inside, it's easy for a player to peel off inside. So, but still, you got to get that driven out. And really, this comes down to Hunt getting to Edmonds, and he's just not fleet-footed enough. And again, the nickel isn't able to be broken. Edmonds gets inside, play gets shut down, and another play. But notice how we keep attacking to the wide on a nickel. And really, you want to attack inside on a nickel because you have a thin inside group. And going to the edge really favors the speed of this nickel. So I'm not really too thrilled on the calls themselves, but you can see here also some player mishaps. Now, again, we got the 12 personnel look. You got a nickel again. You got Johnson on the backside. I forgot the safety's name. But you're going to get a little bit of motion in here. Sean, sorry, brother. I'm trying to get to you on the little typing thing over here, but I'm not up to speed yet. So I'll get to that as soon as I can. So let me see what you're saying. Yeah, it hasn't got on. It's hard to say, brother. I'm going to stop right here and answer that because it's hard to say because with the addition of Anderson, and we can come out in a 3 wide receiver look. If we can get a tight end who can block well enough and we can see a rise in some of the offensive line just a little bit, the addition of Anderson might create leverage where you can hit those quick hits inside. And so I wouldn't write it off just yet because you got Cotton at left guard. He's not even a third stringer in the NFL. You got Jones inside, who's better at inside zone, he's not really meant for outside zone. And then you got Hunt, who's 335, playing a tackle at outside zone. So it's really hard to say, but, they don't have Vaughn here. And, Edmonds won't be here next year. So I don't know. It's going to be, it's not an easy call. So anyway, I want to pop this back because there's a couple of funny parts on this one. Sorry, I got a couple of things over here. Trying to juggle them. These guys who do live, man, I'm impressed with them. So, all right, so watch. So you get the motion, and I want you to take a look at this. Watch. Jones has a false start here. The ball's not even snapped, and it doesn't get called, okay? And so he gets in there, and he already has a jump, an illegal jump, and he still can't peel himself to the next level. And then you got to ask yourself, if that's the case, how can he be a backup guard for us in the scheme that we're running? Edmonds clearly gets a free run inside. And Wilson does a good job he does a good job of bending it down the line of scrimmage. Hunt's getting folded up, but he's able to just kind of fight off 55. I think that's Boogie. I'm not sure. And then the tight end, but look down here. The two tight ends are hold. Oops, I screwed it up. Yeah, sorry. Get back to this a second. All right, and there's the next one over here. Hold on a second. So I misclicked. All right, 1 second. Is that it? All right, Ben's it. No, is that the right play? Oh, man. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Technical difficulty. All right, this is the one where he missed. And then we're going to go here. Next play over. Sorry, guys. All right, yeah, this is it. All right, you get the jump. All right, right there. See, both those tight ends could have been called for holding. Look, outside hand on the shoulder pads. You see the second level. Smythe has got the hold. So you had one clear penalty, 2 possible penalties. You get good yardage on this one. That was a nice play by Wilson to break it to the outside, but clearly 1 penalty and then 2 possible. Now this next play is a back-to-back plays, and this is one of the problems. So you get a nice run against the nickel, but now you come back and you gotta either get the first with the pass or you're gonna have to run it. You can't hear me? Oh, damn. Can you hear me? Oh, man. Technical difficulties. Oh, thanks, brother. All right. Sorry, guys. There's going to be some monkeys in the works here. All right. We'll bring this one back. All right. Thanks, brother. All right. So, look, we get the jump. I think we went through. You got this one? All right. We got the jump. And I don't know if I covered this play, but I'll do it again. You got the jump. Oh, start it again. All right. So this is 3rd down and about 3 after the nice run that had 1 penalty and 2 penalties. Thanks, guys, for your patience. So you got to be able to get this with 2 linebackers and 192-pound Sam a nickelback inside. So you can see to the left, you got Connor, you got Cotton, and my man Tehran on 2 guys getting soaked up. But then inside, Jones, who is our primary backup at the moment, getting stalled along with Hunt, who has a tendency to lose his footing when he plays tackle. And there's another reason why I don't think he should be playing there. And then you got Milano all alone inside and a free blitzer on the edge, and it's a dead play. And you can't have this. You've got to be able to drive them out of the nickel with the run game. And we got the one play and we just couldn't keep it going. And a lot of this has to do with just pure offensive line talent. And I can go to what Sean was saying before, that a lack of just pure talent on the offensive line could come back to bite us. I don't think it will in every situation. I think that a majority of situations, our skills are going to create enough leverage to break things open, but you're going to come to critical situations like this. Now, here's another one. Okay, you're back in a boxed up nickel. So you got a lot of guys inside the box. You got the safety brought down. You got Tehran Johnson on the strong side, but he's 192 pounds, guys. And you got the 21 personnel. You get a little motion here. And this one, this is going to be a still. The film I had was all screwed up. So it's going to be a couple of stills lynched together. So you got to believe that you're going to get some action here. But you don't, again, you see Hunt, he's toppling. He loses his balance out in space and he falls down because he gets sucked up inside, and it leads Edmonds alone to get blocked by, I think it's Smythe, who does a good job, but Ingold can't clear out Boogie Bashing. And then you got Taron Johnson on the backside who's free. And the numbers ain't there. And 58 gets around Hunt, who's on the ground. He's just not nimble enough for that tackle spot, and the play dies. And so this was a tight boxed up nickel. And so you might be able to say, oh, well, but still, you got to be able to run on that. And that really came down to, again, some issues with Hunt being out of position, but just the talent really not there to deliver. But also, Ingold's a guy who's going to be there for us, and he struggles with run blocking. So here's another one. You got a 20 personnel, and you got another nickel, boxed up nickel. You get some motion. You get some movement inside here. Again, 92 kind of gums up the works here. And then at the edge, you see Hunt again getting stymied, and the front side of the play gets folded up, and you can't have that. And then you got Taron Johnson, 192 pounds, shutting down Smythe, and then the safety is there all alone on him. But that comes down to, again, Hunt not able to deliver, us not able to break the nickel. And part of that, you have to say a little bit is because Skyler's in there. They don't fear his arm or maybe whatever, but these aren't good. These are things that have to be rectified if we want to go all the way. You have to get guys out of the nickel. So I'm going to go through this again. And it's not all bad news. It's not to say, we're doomed or anything like that. There's a lot of things that can change because Hunt moving inside, hopefully some better play at the guard and tackle spot. I know we'll see. But also maybe some 3 wide receiver looks instead of all these 11 personnel, 12 personnel looks might be able to create leverage. So again, you get a lot of motion inside, but 99 puts a lot of penetration. He's about 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, driving everything back, which is kind of the way it's meant to go. But the pulling guard, you can see him right there. That's Cotton. Gets totally jacked, and you can see inside, I believe that's Jones falling down, and then Smythe, he's not able to break it free, and they do pick up a good run here. There's a nice little move by Wilson to pick up about 4 or 5, but again, it's the nickel, and you need to have stringed together a couple of consecutive good running plays to get them out of that, and we weren't able to do that. Yeah, it was dead before it started. Let's take a look at it again. So you get a little bit of a high snap. Let's see, where is it here? Really, I don't know if it was dead before it started. Let me see. Let me take a look. You might be right. All right, so you get the motion. And it's meant to go to the left. It's meant to go with the pulling guard. That penetration really jacks things up. But if you got blocking right down here, if you got that guard to drive that guy out, and you got Edmonds who could be picked up, you can get some play out of it. But it was too folded up inside. Still got 4 or 5. But that's not what you want when you have that kind of, oh, sorry about that. I'll work on it next time, brother. Sorry, I missed your comment. All right, so we'll keep going. I'll check that again later on. So now here's another one, a little bit of a high snap. And, you've got another nickel, Taron Johnson, Thanks, guys. Thanks for your patience, man. I'm an old dude. This tech stuff, man. I've been sweating for 2 years to do this, so I appreciate all your patience. I'll get better. I'll work at it. I'm German. I'm neurotic, so I'll be working on it. So you with this kind of look and notice how we keep doing a lot of motion, a lot of edge attacks, and that's not really the best way to beat the nickel. You want to pop it because it's thin. And so I think in some ways, schematically, we're failing, but also clearly we're not getting the production out of the players that we want. So you get a little, again, you get the step and then come back, and you got 99 who's got deep penetration inside, totally throws everything off, destroys the play right there. And that, again, that's coming on Cotton. And so you could say, oh man, it's terrible, but Cotton's not going to be here. But the question is Eichenberg any better? And, he's got to get better, because I've seen Eichenberg do things like that, get beat that bad. So, again, there's another play that was killed dead on arrival. This is way too much. This is what happened, sort of what happened the year before, but it was because our offensive line was terrible. This year, it wasn't so much because it was terrible, but our talent level went up, but I still think big holes at the tight end position, big holes at the guard position. I mean, obviously we're moving lots of guys around too as well. Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm trying. It's moving 1,000 miles an hour. All right. So let's keep on going. So, but remember, if we could have had some semblance of a run game, we would have won this. I mean, there were a couple of drops that would have turned it around. All right. I'm going to do the comment thing at the end, so I'll hold on to that. What's your take on Fangio's zone defense helping the offense adjust, considering it's difficulty, MD, and the offense struggling against it? I think anytime you can go against a complicated defense in practice, a diverse defense in practice, it's going to help you. Fangio is not going to allow stuff to happen because he wants the offense to feel good. It's just not going to happen. And dude, that's really kind, man. It's really kind. You guys don't feel obligated. I appreciate that, but I appreciate that, brother. So Fangio is going to make McD work in and out. And I think it's going to help McD get better. It's going to help this offense get better. And I believe both will get better. But my concern is, and I'm going to get to that at the end, is specific settings, specific teams, specific environments. And what you see here, this was an environment where we had a decent amount of drops. We had some problem passing because this was a cold day. And so I think that generally speaking, the leverage that's going to be created with Chosen and Hill and Waddle and Tua throwing into gaps, along with, I believe, an improved blocking unit. I don't know how much, but I got to believe that Eichenberg and Jackson are going to get better. I got to believe we're going to see a little bit better blocking on the edge. It's going to be good most of the time, but you got to break the nickel. For 3 seasons now, or 2 seasons at least, 2 seasons, I should definitely say, we were not able to break the nickel. You've got to be able to break it. Now, on this one here, it's an edge play. It's a toss. And we just can't, again, make it happen because we don't have the receivers that are able to hold the blocks. And he gets free. And I love Hill making motion blocks and cutting guys off. I don't like Waddle blocking at all. So to get a receiver on that edge to hold that block is going to be critical because he comes in. I mean, it probably would have been stymied anyway, but all this edge stuff is not conducive to running against these nickels. And I'm not sure we can do enough to break it against some of these better defenses. This is why the inside attack is going to be critical. There's another dead play. So again, I believe there's ways of getting around this. I believe that right now we're out of sorts. Hunt inside next to Connor would have changed things some, but who are we going to get on that edge to make those critical blocks that Hunt's missing. And that's why I think Henry, you got to bring an enforcer. We don't have enough enforcement. You know, think about Mike Tyson or Bruce Lee, you know. These guys are guys that are extremes of certain looks, and they're amazing in certain regards, but they have holes in their game. And if you come up to the right guy, like Holyfield, the way he was able to take the shots on Tyson and then deal them back, that's when you run into problems. And there's teams inside the AFC that are going to be able to take Miami's shot, and they're going to bring it to this moment, whether it's bad weather up in Buffalo or against the Jets, against the Bills, or even KC. Remember, KC is a bad weather environment. And so that's my only concern. I think that this team is like Bruce Lee. They have the ability to hit hard, hit fast, put points on, and the defense is going to be phenomenal. But do they have enough physicality? And to me, a Henry type would fit the weakness, would build up the weakness, because I believe it's the weakness is what you do, is where your money's made, because the best players in the world, they always get brought to that point of what's their weakness and can they overcome it. And so if we can just bring this weakness up a little bit, I think we could do amazing stuff. And that's why I'm trying to bring this out. A couple of reasons to show that Hunt is not a tackle. Jones is not a guard really for us. And also how we need to break this nickel. But if we can, this would have been an easy win, which is scary to say considering how good the Bills are. So now you get an inside run. You got another nickel look. We try to go straight on, but you can see to the left, Cotton and Connor, they're dealing one guy. And then Jones, he just can't handle his guy. And in a better situation, it would be Hunt, and he would be able to handle his guy. But he's not able to handle him. He gets strung out, and then there's the free rusher in here. And so it comes down to the weakest link. And the weakest link is going to get exposed. And unfortunately, over and over again, I've seen a lot of times the nickel just is not able to be broken, except when he did with the Browns. But the Browns had a weak interior, and we were able to make hay inside. If you go back and watch, we were able to break the inside because they had poor interior defensive linemen. And so I'm going to go back and do a season study on it. But I think that's the main thing. Hunt inside is great, but then you got Eichenberg. And so I'm going to keep on going here. I hope you guys are making sense. Thanks, brothers. Trying to give you guys. Now, look, we've got a 3 wide here. We've got a 3 wide. It's not a lot of yards to go. It's only a couple of inches. And so we have to remember that. But watch, we pick it up. We get a little bit of movement. It's not actually 3 wide. It's a tight end coming down. He was stretched out wide. Nice block, though. And then we pick it up here. I mean, if it had been any more, we wouldn't have made it. But I think if we can get that 3 wide and get guys backing off, we might be able. Those linebackers, if they see 3 wide out there with 1 tight end, they might not play so close to the line if they're worried about those backside middle of the field throws. So I'm hoping leverage. Yeah. So let me read this as a good one. Christian, I'm going to read this one. They should take a page of KC's O-line play in the last Super Bowl. They ran all over the place on the weak side when overloading the strong side with perfect timing. Yeah, they did, but also they had some serious talent. When you go look at that offensive line with Orlando there, they had some serious talent on that offensive line to get the movement. Now, Tehran, my man Tehran, I love my man Tehran, but he's a shield slide blocker. He's not a drive blocker. And that's one of the things that concern me, especially here with him being injured. And then you got Jackson on the other side who can't move my grandmother. And so there is issues here. We're going to have to drive guys out at that tackle position. If you're going to run wide, you got to get those tackles to move guys. That's why I think it's better for us to try to hit the inside, the B-gap runs. Maybe we can get some actual movement with our guard and center Connor and Hunt, and hopefully another guy to come in for Eichenberg. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I'm going to go back and study KC's game. I love that. I hated Andy Reid. Not hated him, but I just disliked him for the fun ball. I actually rooted for him against the Patriots, and I thought they should have won with the Eagles. But he won me last year in the Super Bowl. He was brilliant. It was so in opposition of his nature. All right, so here we got another nickel. Now you've got Tehran, 192 pounds, sitting right there. All you need to do is run straight ahead, get some good blocks, but you get the motion, you get the zone. This is why I don't like the zone stretch. Look, now Jones, 65, he can't get a strong enough stab. It wasn't a terrible stab, but Hunt is just not fleet-footed enough to cut him off. And he can't get to the second level, so it's a waste of everything that he's doing, Jones. And then the backside attack for where Hunt can't get him comes inside, and then Cotton can't make his block, and then he just totally folds up. And so right from the get-go, I'm going to start that one again. This is my biggest concern about Hunt. He's a breaking case of emergency tackle, but you got two guys. Oh man, what do I do? What do I do here? All right, here we go. Sorry, guys. All right, so 65 is Jones. He ain't doing nothing. He should have just sealed this guy and just forget about it. But he stabs him. That's not a bad stab. But you got to expect Hunt to slide more lateral down the line of scrimmage and pick him up. But he gets the hand out there because he's just not fast enough. And if he's not fast enough, how can you run zone stretch with Hunt at tackle? And so there's a lot of talk about us getting a guard. No, we need tackles. We need tackles. And so that play was dead on arrival, backside pursuit, which you can't have. Again, this is not without Vaughn in there. And then I got a couple more. Hope I'm making sense. So, again, you got another nickel. You got the safety creeped up. You got a corner creeped up. And you got 11 personnel. And you just can't get the movement. You see inside, Jones can't move his guy. And then look at Hunt again, falling on his feet because every time he comes from that tackle spot in movement, he loses his footing. And he just gets washed, and Smythe gets rolled down the line of scrimmage, and then that's it. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Let me see if I can do this thing right. All right, so we've got to be able to break the nickel. I think if you got Hunt inside, you're going to get a better effect. But if we can't break that nickel, they're going to sit in nickel, and then it's going to make it a lot harder for our passing game. And I don't care how much talent you have. You look at some of the talent over there with the Jets. You look at some of the talent over there with the Patriots. If they're sitting in nickel all day, you're going to struggle to make that pass game happen. And the pass game is notoriously fickle. And so we need to get this run game going. But I do believe that if we change our looks, don't do so much motion and get hat on hat when we've got Connor inside, when we've got Hunt inside. If we could find some guy at that left guard spot is the key for me, because you break your quality blockers with Eichenberg. You can have Jackson on the outside as long as you got Tehran, a quality left guard, Connor, and Hunt, and you could get those quick hits inside, break those nickels, and get guys at least to back off, or maybe occasionally come in and bring in that 4-3 look. If not, it's going to be a long, long day in, say, bad weather situations, in situations where you've got to get the run, situations where that secondary is kind of getting its feel for what you're doing, and you want to kind of throw their timing off. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. We need some help. Yeah, well, I think our nickel on offense is going to be substantially helped with Chosen, because the problem is we had Sherfield, and if you're talking about on defense, I'll get to that in a second, but our nickel on offense, Sherfield was good, but he didn't threaten anybody. Then you had tight ends that really didn't threaten anybody. And then you had Gesicki, who was a mid to late clock guy. And so that whole package, when you brought on nickel out on offense, wasn't really threatening enough, either in the run game or really in the pass game, because they could kind of focus on Waddle and Hill and let them make their catches and kind of try to break down consistency. So I do believe there is an area where you can get a healthy offensive line, a nickel look, and maybe a tight end that can threaten them in the draft and get that leverage, back guys off, and then you can get the push and pull of those runs and the pass. And honestly, we're going to need it. We're going to need it. This Jets defense is going to be really good. This Pat's defense is going to be very good. So I got to imagine looking into the draft for a blockable team. Yeah, they Kraft is going to be their guy. And again, thanks, brother, for the 20 buck tip, man. Real nice, real nice. Yeah, Kraft is the guy. To me, I think Kraft, look, if Laporta is available, you get him, and then maybe his threat of catching the football can create that leverage you want in your 3 tight end or your 12 personnel look. And then the leverage by the speed creates leverage. And as you back guys off, it creates more space. And that space allows the running back to get to the line of scrimmage or over the line of scrimmage, and then he can make things happen. But as it stands, you get the nickel look, you get pressed on the line of scrimmage, you don't get any leverage, and then you can't get any space. And then you get off schedule, and then no matter how good Hill is and Waddle is, you kind of off schedule. It's not really a good situation. So Kraft in the third, maybe Laporta in the second. Both these situations, I think, are critical. I think the tight end is the most critical thing because I don't see a guard or a tackle in this draft being able to help us right away. And this season, 23 and 24, is absolutely critical. We've got to make hay this year. If we don't make hay in a very heavy AFC East, then you start getting pressure. And you get media pressure. You get pressure from the staff. You get pressure from the owner. You don't want that. We need to make hay and break in a nickel, whether it's create leverage created through threatening through speed or breaking the nickel in the run game because you got a blocking tight end or an offensive line doing its job. One way or the other, we got to break this nickel. So, yeah, it's got to be a tight end. I think Kraft in the third is where Miami's going to go. They flew out to see him, and he's not like an elite player. But he's a guy who can, he's a little bit upgrade over Smythe. And I think a strong upgrade in the run blocking and pass blocking department. So anyway, that's where I'm standing. I want to move on now. I wish I could hear from you people, man. I wish this was a bar where we could all talk and I could hear from you. It's weird talking to myself over here. Let's see. I agree. It's built in tackle, help us against premier passers. Yeah. All right. So, but this is the one thing I'm concerned with Dolphins fans. I get called a little bit of a, I was like, I take a sip of my sauce over here. A little negative, but I really have now 43 years watched Dolphins fans get screwed over and used. And, yeah, I miss those days. I miss people, man. It's computer stuff. I'm like a barbarian, dude. I can't stand technology. I'd be like driven into this with a whip. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I think Dolphins fan. Hey brother. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. I would rather have my Dolphins fans be a little leery going into a great season than to be constantly set up. And I believe this is a season where the Dolphins really have a chance. But Rodgers to the Jets, the Bills, and the Patriots are going to be tough teams. And Chubb really had a great comment. He said, I'm excited, man, when asked about Rodgers' move. It's an opportunity to play against one of the best quarterbacks that have ever played the game. I'm excited to compete against that twice a year. It brings out the best in everybody. Everybody knows that. Yeah, we got A-Rod this week, so we got to be on our P's and Q's. Now we've just got a division full of great quarterbacks, man. So I wouldn't say great because Jones doesn't earn that, but I think he could be good. I think he'd be good this year with O'Brien. So I'm excited to be in a mix and be competing towards the end of the year when it really counts and stuff like that. So it's going to be fun, man. I know he's excited to play. You know what I'm saying? A lot of good edge rushers we've got in this division as well. So it's going to be fun. And that's the key. Rodgers is going to be good. This Jets team is going to be good. They're going to challenge us. It's going to take everything this team has to get past them, much less get past the Bills and the Patriots. It's going to be a brutal season. And I think that if we tear down Rodgers, it's going to diminish what we're doing, and it's going to set people up to be surprised. And then you go against a good Jets team, say in New York, and let's say they win. Well, you know, Rodgers is washed up, and we can't beat up washed up Rodgers. Yeah, DeJuan Jones, I'll get into that in a second. I like some of his stuff, but I'm not sure he fits in the zone stretch. He's a little slow-footed. I think he's an inside zone guy. He's like 6'8", I think, so he can't play guard. I'm not good enough to determine whether he could play in this scheme or not. I'm not knowledgeable enough. But from what I've seen, he struggles a little bit to be on with long range, really good at run blocking. I like the kid a ton. I'm not really a big fan of zone stretch. I like McDaniel a ton, but I'm not big on the zone stretch. Yeah, no, he does get hate. Last year, what he had to go through was brutal. It's not fair. I mean, it's what happened to Tua his first 2 seasons. But I just don't think he's great. His first season was pretty good, but it was, also contained by his lack of arm skills. Last year, he was totally screwed over. No, I think he can play, and I think he's going to surprise people this season because if he gets in the right scheme where it's a read scheme where it's based on his reads and his progressions and his using his brain to manipulate the defense, I think the kid could be successful, Tony. So I definitely, I actually liked him. I liked him coming out. I thought he was going to be okay. He surprised me, though. Yeah, but that's the thing, Christian. With the Jets, their weakness last year was the run game. Last year, the weakness for the Pats was the run game. And now you got Edmonds, who's not with the Bills, and that's going to hurt their run game. And this is why I think there's going to be an emphasis for us to be successful in the run game. I'm not saying we need to be run heavy, but pass, balance. I think the run game is critical for these reasons because it's not the strength. The strength of the Jets is the pass defense and the pass rush. Strength of the Jets is the pass defense and the pass rush. And the strength of the Bills is the pass rush and the pass defense. It was the run defense, but now you're bringing Edmonds out of there. Who are they going to get to equal that? I'm not sure. I really think we need the run game. I think it's going to be important. So, but anyway, I just want to finish up. Jets going to be tough, guys. And we need to say that Rodgers can still play. I'm going to get to that in depth. I'm going to get it to that. That's going to be my next point on Cook. Because, okay. All right, I'll move on. Listen, respect Rodgers. He's going to be good. Don't sleep on him. And if we get to the top, we'll be 2 great quarterbacks and 3 tough teams. But don't sleep on Rodgers because the Dolphin fans will be set up for that. That's my take. If I'm wrong, I'll eat hay on that or a crow or whatever it is. So, okay, DT at 51. I don't know if there's a DT at 51 that I love that much. I like him more in the third. I kind of like the tight end in the second and the DT in the third because there's talk about Cook coming. All right, so Cook comes, he's definitely getting $10 million. He's getting $10 million. And if you look at our cap, 2024, we got 33 players and we're minus $14 million. But we still got to sign Wilkins, who's going to be $25 million. Still got to sign Sealer, who's going to be $20 million. Still got to sign Hunt, who's probably 10 to 13, maybe 10 to, something like that. Connor, he's going to be a free agent. And that means that's another 10, 11, or 12, whatever, million. And so you're going to have to let some guy go. I believe this is our town, the biggest window we're going to have. I don't think Cook is as important as it's nice. If he gets in here, he's going to help us. The guy can play. He's very good. Someone said, I don't know anything about running backs. I can stay on my game. I'll get into that in the comments because I said he's not elite. He's not Hall of Fame, but he's very good. And he would help us. But as you saw before, there was more problems with the blocking than there was the back. And I think that getting blockers in here, getting some depth, some cheap talent this year and next year to offset some of these losses that are definitely coming. You got to pay Tua in 25. You know, you got big contracts coming up. So to me, I don't want Cook to come. If he does, it'll be impressive. He'll make some flash runs. But I just think the blocking situation is going to be the key. And if you watch him last year with Minnesota in the playoffs, he got stymied. Defense coach proven they have a really good GM. He's had some good, but look, if you stop last year, what a great year by that GM. But if you stop in 2021 with Greer, you would say, oh, that's a great draft. So I got to see him, the GM, play it out for a couple of seasons. I like what he's done. I like the formula they got because they've invested in that offensive line. So I do like what they have, but there is some holes. They got to make sure this offensive line gets going. Is Becton going to come through this year? Is he going to go down again? Is Veritucka going to stay healthy? And if not, and they don't get a guy in the draft that can step up, then they're going to be in that siphon mode where the offensive line drags them down. To me, the offensive lines of the Pats, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets is going to determine everything. The starting talent and depth, especially the depth, is going to probably determine who wins the East. So I like what they've got. If Becton steps up, Veritucka stays healthy, and they find another guy in his draft to play along with the depth of Connor and what's his face? The old guy. I can't remember his name right now. They're going to have a very, very deep offensive line with a quarterback who can play, and it's going to be very tough to stop them. But, it's a question. Like, is Teron going to stay healthy all year? Is Eichenberg going to step up? Is Jackson going to step up? Who are we going to bring in? I think we struggle with depth. But then I think the Bills are in a worse spot than us. I think the Patriots, maybe about equal spot. So it's going to be very interesting what happens in this draft, what happens with guys stepping up, and what happens with post-free agency. 72 Dolphins, how do you think each team in the AFC will do? Will they get 1 to 2 extra wins? Will we get 200 offensive upgrades? It's hard to say. We have the potential. Look, we won 9 games, all right, with a gutted offensive line due to injuries and pretty poor to start off with, tell you the truth, in 2 core areas. We didn't have an extra speed guy at the receiver position. We had our starting cornerback out all season. Howard was injured by week 4 against the Bengals. And then we had a defensive coordinator who was like men's and men's. So now we have an elite D coordinator. We've got Ramsey's, who's elite. You bring back Needham. You don't expect him to go down again. You got Coe, who stepped up through the season. You've got depth at that cornerback position. You got Chubb through the full season. You got Long at linebacker. This defense is picked up. I think, yes, I think we can get to 10 and 11 wins. But my concern is this defense will do a lot for us. And we're going to blow some way more teams out than we did last year. But in those critical situations against the big teams, we're going to have to run and we have to win with our run efficiency. And I'm just not certain at this stage because I don't know who we're going to have as blockers. And so at the face of it, yeah, I think we get those 1 or 2 wins. But now with Rodgers in there, what is that going to mean? And you got O'Brien over at the Patriots. They're going to be better. Look how they played us week 1. So there's a lot that goes into that. I think just in a bubble, yeah, we should win 1 to 2 more games. But will all the things that are done on these other teams, will they get 1 or 2 more wins, and then that would reduce us. And then there's injuries. So I don't really like to say that at this stage. As I head into week 1, towards the end of the preseason, I think I'll make my statement. Last year, I said 9 to 11 games was our bracket. I kind of was correct. I said if we would win 9 if there was a lot of mitigating circumstances, and that's kind of how it played out. So I'm going to wait on that one. But on the face of it, yeah, we should. We've done so much. If we don't win 1 to 2 more games, it's an absolute abject failure. But we got a lot of teams to play. There's a much harder schedule, and we got to see how it plays out. Do we get a lot of good games at home early? We need to come out and win early because I think we're gonna struggle in these away games and these cold games, and it's gonna be hard. We got to win early. We got to get some nice teams. The teams are gonna be tough at home late early, so we can beat them. So I'll wait on that. So anyway, Cook. You sign Cook. It's $10 million a year for 2 to 3 years. You're going to be locked in for at least 2 years. How are you going to keep Wilkins at 25, Sealer at 20, Hunt at 10 to 13, and Connor between 10 to 13 when you're negative $14 million with 33 guys under the cap? So DT, thanks, man. I appreciate it, guys. I'm trying. If I'm a little discombobulated, please understand. I give these guys TD and Dudley Do Wrong and all those guys that do the live stuff, man, props, man. This is not an easy thing. So thanks for your patience. But we are going to be constricted in 24 to try to maintain this whole thing. So you're going to have to let one of these DT go. And, you might say, well, we got to keep Wilkins and let Sealer go. But if Sealer's a guy you can get for $18 million or $17 million, and Wilkins is not the best pass rusher, in the 3rd round, I forgot what the guy's name was. There's a DT there. He's a big plugger guy, physical. You could bring him in this year, get him manned up for next year, and get him to take Wilkins so you can save $25 million. And then you can keep your offensive line together and maybe Sealer and keep this thing going into 24. Because 25 is going to be a big, big cap reset. There's no way about it. You got too many guys. It is going to be a talent drop. I mean, not a huge one. I think we can keep it going, but you're going to see a talent drop if we're not wise. And trading picks for Cook and paying him a ton of money and keeping Wilkins is going to be real tough. It's going to be very, very tough. So I think a DT is needed this draft because if you draft the guy next year, these guys take a year or 2 to man up. Wilkins didn't really hit his prime. He really didn't hit it till year 3. And so I think getting a DT this draft is where I would like to see us trading that 2nd round back if we don't get Laporta there, and then get the DT. I can't remember the cat's name, and then get Kraft. And I think we'd be in a good spot because you'd be able to pick up maybe like a 4th or a 5th with that, or 4th, and find another guy, maybe a running back there you could pick up. I don't like that dude Aiken for us. We got too many small fry guys, too many speed guys. We need physicality. We need some cement in the hands, cement in the pants, and be able to punch people in the face. So that's where I think that's where I'm at with all that stuff. Now I'm going to try to do this thing here. I want to do a better job next time. I put up some comments because I love your guys' comments. They mean the world to me. It's my favorite part of the job. I'm a writer, so I like to write. I like to talk to you guys. So I'm going to bring up some of the comments I saw over the last week or so. And I'm going to do a better job of keeping them. I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to read them off over here because they're a little blurry. I need glasses. Hold on a second. I appreciate your comments, man. I've learned so much from you guys. I mean, and I'm not even just saying that. I put my ideas out there. Sometimes I get people saying something different than what I say, and I got to change it. Sometimes I sharpen my stuff. Sometimes I get the funniest comments. Sometimes I get real encouraging comments. Sometimes I get information that I didn't even know, So I love comments. So I'm going to start on the left side. Jason Keck, he said, oh, well, he's a lead, so he doesn't need wide receivers. Just give him garbage, and they'll elevate the players. Basically talking about Rodgers. Now, Rodgers last year did elevate his receivers, but they weren't good enough to be elevated. Just think about what Wilson, he got rookie of the year with White and Wilson. What is Wilson going to do this year with Rodgers? I think you're going to see this guy be very, very difficult to stop. I think you're going to see this receiving group of the Jets stand up because Rodgers did so much last year with so little. He had a bad back, bad thumb, and a bad offensive line. When he comes here, he's going to have the receivers to make things happen. I think Tua is damn good. I think Tua has a nice skill set to make guys really shine. But when he didn't have the receivers, he wasn't able to do the stuff. You bring Hill in, you bring Waddle in, you get a guy who knows how to do really nice pass route combinations, and all of a sudden you see him shine. Same thing is going to happen with Rodgers this year. So Lucapedia, my man Lucapedia, great. Speed is going to help us if we know how to use it. It's clear where our weakness is, OL, but maybe we can find ways to overcome it, like you've outlined. My concern is that we were far too predictable last season, as you outlined in the previous video. If we pass 2/3 of the first downs, then opposing defenses will play nickel and not bite on a run. If we're looking at a 3rd and long, opposing defenses are going to play tight coverage and send the house to overwhelm our protection. We may still have success, but the advantage outlined in the video will disappear if our play calling is predictable. And that's a thing we've got to understand. Last year, McDaniel was a rookie, guys. He was a rookie. And we have to give him his due. Okay? Am I doing this thing right? I'm screwing it up. Okay. So we have to give him his season of learning curve. And he made a lot of good decisions and a lot of bad decisions. And he was bringing so much stuff on, calling plays, running the team. Simply calling a better game and having a better philosophy is going to boost us. Now, I don't know how much. It's an unknown. But we got to wait to see what happens with McDaniel. If he calls a better game and he has a better philosophy and he makes better adjustments, you're going to see a lot more success considering how predictable he was and how he really did lack adjustments and how overwhelmed he did seem at times. And so there's an unknown intangible here, and it could be great. But we've got to wait and see. It's not that this offensive line is going to doom us. There's clearly situations where this offensive line is going to compromise us unless we can get some more production out of them, but also call things around it better. And so we've got to wait to see on that. So, Lucas, I think it's an unknown, but I do think just simply doing better from the strategic and tactical standpoint, we're going to see a growth. Dame Dan, it will be the Bills, meaning they're going to be 4th place. I truly believe they missed their window. Allen proved he's not clutch. 4 losses. They had came with the ball in Josh's hands when they had an opportunity to win. Well, I just want to say that Kansas City game was not on him. They had the lead with 13 seconds left. Allen is clutch. Allen is good. I don't believe the window's closed, but I do believe the talent window, the maximum talent window, has been diminished unless a bunch of guys that Bean brought in step up and they draft well this season. And that's the thing. You know, that window did constrict, but Allen and this Bills team is not done, guys. Don't sleep on them. They're going to be tough. We can beat them, but it's going to be tough. Now, Cody, O'Day, imagine this: Hill, Waddle, Anderson working vertically while Berrios and Easy working laterally. Braxton is going to be Tua's safety net and chain mover. The tea leaves suggest Wilson might be the odd man out. He was before the trade rumors. Yeah, I agree with everything he's saying. In a pass game, we're going to be brutal. We're going to be so tough to stop. There's defenses up to a certain level that are going to be eviscerated. They're not going to be able to handle this. It's going to make us look like a juggernaut. They're just not good. But there's a difference between those, first 20 defenses and then those top 10 to 12. It is just a different world when you're talking about how defenses are going to respond. So we're going to eviscerate a bunch of defenses. We're going to eat people up. But when you get a good D caller, you've got a deep secondary. and you can play that nickel dime and you can stop the run, even with what we got here, it's going to bring things close. And in those close moments, you've got to have run efficiency. You've got to be able to dial it in and punch the guy in the nose at times. And so that's really where I think it is. I think you're not going to be able to stop us in a sense if you're a top 20 defense. And you're going to have trouble when you're in that top, 12 to 5, 12 to 6. But those top 5, maybe top 7 defenses, when they're matched with a good offense, it's going to come down to how we run that football. So I agree, but I also think there's mitigating circumstances. 23 KYD, I would be really happy to see the Dolphins take wide receiver Jay Mingo. So many people have said Mingo. And I bet you this guy's good. I haven't really looked at him. I kind of did briefly because receiver is just so off the board for us. I think this kid is really good. He's a really good blocker. Some guys were saying that he could actually come and be the tight end we need because he's such a good blocker and so big. But we've invested so heavy on this receiver group. EZ is sitting there. He's got to do the job that Mingo can do, or to a certain degree. We can't go a receiver. Even if he's the best guy, at a certain point, I believe in drafting best players. But when you got a receiving group where you got 2 firsts on Waddle, you got all the picks invested in money in Hill, you spent a 4th on EZ, and then you got chosen in here, getting another Mingo in the 2nd round, I just don't think it's plausible, guys. So then I'm going to bring it back over to the right side. Firefox 198, build a line, otherwise there is no threat. Well, there is a threat. We had no offensive line through pretty much half the season last year, and we threatened guys. But to agree with him, if we go against a good defense that has an offense, say like San Fran, then yeah, you're in big trouble. If your offensive line can't cut it, it can get ugly. So there's going to be a bunch of games where if we have no offensive line, we're still going to make these guys look like jokers. But then when it gets into that better team with the defense and offense, or in an ugly situation, then I have to totally agree. All right, Tubal Cain, he's the guy who did the Hindenburg, and his also nickname was Slackson. And so I'm going to refer, if anytime in the future I say Hindenburg and Slackson, Tubal Cain's the guy to do it. It was brilliant. I just want to give him credit for that. And then Mob Rules, Dalvin expressed a desire to come to Miami. He's willing to take a team-friendly deal. Yeah, he's going to take a team-friendly deal, but it's going to be $10+ million. And I just don't see him fitting in for us, maybe for the season, but it's going to constrict so much going forward to the future that I just don't see it. I mean, it could happen, but I'm not really as high, all hyped about it as many people, even though it would be sick to see at certain points. But as I showed you before, this blocking is the key issue here, not really the running backs. Then Gary Thompson, man, you're stepping outside your mind. He's one of the best running backs around it, and it contains the team around. Let him get some blocking and daylight, and it's over. He was saying, I said, you know what, Cook is not elite. Well, to me, elite is Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, LaDainian Tomlinson, Derrick Henry, or, one of those guys. To me, Cook is a very good back. He's had one 1,400-yard season with like 18 touchdowns. And then he had like a 1,100 or 1,100-yard season with like 13 touchdowns. He is good, but the production is not elite. So I just want to bring that up there because it kind of bothered me because I'm an ex-running back. I know running backs. Cook is very good, but he is not Hall of Fame, and he is not elite. Then Hammer, I sure hope that DeWine Jones falls. He loves him. I'm a little uncertain because look at Hunt, the way he moved in space, the way he was able to get down the line of scrimmage on the zone stretch at tackle. I don't know that DeWine can do it. He's a little bit slow-footed. I think he's more zone, inside zone and run blocking, but maybe I'm wrong. And then guys, I can't pronounce. Brandon Watts, I know you don't mind being corrected on pronunciation. I notice you pronounce Tyndale as Tyndale. It's Tyndall. with being pronounced like the laundry detergent. So it's Tyndall, but I think I might have screwed it up again too. So, I'm a Yutz. I'm a New Yorker. My kids make fun of my accent. I do my best. I went to elocution classes in college. Sometimes I can get rid of it. Sometimes I can't, but I'm a Yutz. I'll work on my pronunciations. Tyndall. Tintin. That's his name going forward. Tintin. Okay. So, on that, the last note, any comments that you got, any questions, not for me to answer, because I think there's a lot of like smart guys in these comments that they could probably answer even when this thing is done and people watch it, hopefully later on. So if you have any ideas or thoughts that you want to bring up that maybe I could talk about, we could all kind of round robin and bring together. And that's the thing I really want most with this live stuff. It's not me being some guru, because I ain't. I'm deaf. I got my bachelor's in English. I'm not. Ain't is not the right way to say it. I'm just a guy who knows a little bit about football. But I think together with all the minds that we got here, we can get better evaluation today than we had yesterday, and then get a better evaluation tomorrow than we had today by working together. And so anything you guys want to bring up, any topics before I shut it down? This old man is getting a little weary here with his live stuff. So let me drink my thing over here. So if you guys have any comments, and besides you're a jackass, which I am, I know I'm a monkey, but anything you want to talk about? Any thoughts? And even if you guys got something to say that you don't think that I'm right about, I love that stuff, dude. I love being corrected. I love my ideas being challenged. I appreciate that. So if not, we're out of here. Nothing. All right, guys. Listen, I appreciate you guys for stopping by. You're the best. Putting up with this monkey. Listen, I don't know if it's considered beta male, because look at Carol. I think, look, leadership comes in all kind of styles, and I believe that the leadership at the top, say the head coach, it's not, if you've ever, I played a little bit of football. I've been around a lot of leadership groups, and you got your leader, but the head coach, his interaction with the players on a daily is not what you think. It's here and there. Game day, it's big. And so what leadership he has underneath that's working with him is critical. And this is why I think the addition of Fangio is so critical. Yeah, I believe McDaniel's a little Woody Allen. Oh, Beta, M. Mike Mc, yeah, Curtis is Mike Mc, Oh, I'm sorry. Curtis is Mike McDaniel, beta style of coaching going to. Yeah, you said. No. No, you're talking about McDaniel. You're talking about, yeah. You're talking about McDaniel. So, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So, McDaniel is kind of like the nice guy, the funny guy, the himself. He's going to empower you and make you feel good. But if you have a guy underneath and you have certain guys around that get to play a different personality type, you can have a guy like Mike McDaniel, just like you have a guy like Carroll. Carroll didn't work in New England. They hated him. They came from Bill Parcells, and they hated his coaching style. But then when he went to college, they loved it. And then when he went to the Seahawks, they loved it until they didn't. So I don't know. Okay, good. Yeah. And that's a really good question, man. That's a really good question. I wanted to get out of here, but now you got me locked in. All right. So if you look at Allen last year and you look at Tua, you'll say they're totally different quarterbacks. But when you really analyze their season and their story, they were so similar. They were asked to go deep, to attack deep, and they had porous offensive lines that weren't able to run the football. And that highly vertical offense got them beat up and had them at times struggling with their consistency. And I think, yes, whether it's West Coast or it's the short passing game. If you want to say I have I have a couple, but not in a bad way against McDaniel. It's his ability to do small ball play calling. And he had some brilliant stuff. And I think his run game was the least brilliant. It worked with San Fran. And I think he went back and he's going to relearn some of his stuff based on the talent he has here. But his pass game lacked small ball. There were times the route combinations in a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 just really weren't there. There wasn't enough timing routes. There wasn't enough comebacks. If you watch, there wasn't even enough rubs. I just didn't feel like if you watch McDaniels from the Patriots last year when he was in the Patriots, he was amazing at small ball football in his route combinations, his ability to get rubs, his ability to dial up the screenplay. And these are things that I believe that are part of an experienced, a seasoned play caller, which McDaniel wasn't. You can't ask somebody, no matter how smart they are, to come in. I mean, you go say McVay. But you know how much talent McVay had on the offensive line everywhere? It was dripping with talent, except at the quarterback spot. But he had the offensive line. He had the defense. He had the run game. And it took him a little time. And he still wasn't able to deliver. McDaniel is in his 2nd season. Now, what we see this year, as far as his ability to call the small ball, his ability to get the feeling for when to run the football, how to attack certain defenses, and how to manage the game, it's going to be the big tell. If McDaniel does not make substantial growth in his 2nd season, then I'm going to be concerned. But I'm not concerned with his 1st season yet, because you can't ask a guy to come in who was in the booth and he was a run coordinator and come in to run a whole team and then call the entire offensive plays with an offensive line. I mean, the offensive line, guys, it is the booster to everything. You got a great offensive line. Your offensive coordinator looks like a genius half the time if he's got a decent quarterback. You know, everything looks better. So you had this sketchy offensive line with 2 massive holes at 2 critical positions and no depth and incongruent pieces. And then you ask this guy to do all this stuff. But this year to me, it's critical to evaluate Greer. Greer's the guy who built this offensive line. So if this offensive line sucks us down, then it's a damning indictment of Greer. But if we rise through it, then you've got to have resounding praise for Greer, which, it's not easy for me to say, but if we overcome this offensive line situation, then you got to give him credit because this is all his design. But in the same token, now you got McDaniel, who's had a whole season to see his talent. He's had a whole season to see the division. He had a whole season to know what he's got and to work on his thing. If he's not able to rise above this to a big degree, because I still think there's going to be holes in his game. I still think he's going to make some mistakes, but they've got to be way more marginal than what they were last season. If we don't get that, if we see just a slight bump up, then I'm going to be highly concerned. But I expect him to have, say, like, if he was 70% this year, maybe like 85, 90 this year. And if he can get to 85, 90, I think we can see a lot happen with this offense. And we're going to need it because, it's going to be tough. He's going to have to make the right decisions and small ball, knowing when to run the football, not just doing draws all day and all this motion stuff. He has to see that this motion is part of the reason why we had all these penalties. And you can't use it too much. It's overuse. It's like Spinal Tap going to 11. So anyway, I think McDaniel with Fangio has the right personality mix. I'm a little concerned about Smith. He bothered me a little bit last year. I got to see what he does this season. But I think he's got the ingredients because I said when he was hired, I said, if he's winning, he's going to be a genius. Everyone's going to love him and he's going to raise what we're doing. But in times of trouble, people are going to start pointing a finger at him. And so he's going to have success. But I do believe Fangio is the guy to come in and to bring the whip and be the, the nice contrasting character to get this scheme, this group of personalities at leadership to run the ship the right way. But he's going to have to step up in his game as well, because if they have a problem this year, it could get very ugly. But I do believe we are going to rise up. But those critical situations, guys, with what we got here, we got to come in second place, at least in the division. We've got to win a playoff game. Anything less will be devastating to this regime, to this franchise, to the ambitions that we have. So it's a big season, I believe, but I also got to see it. Trust but verify. Trust but verify. What about the TE? Can McDaniels utilize the T position? With the guys we got now, no. I mean, Tanakana, I don't know. He's a small guy, but he really didn't show a lot last year. Smythe is who Smythe is. He's an okay guy. And then Saubert, I mean, come on. They got to get a tight end. I think if they get the right tight end, if they got a guy who can be that blocker and receiver, you could see some real nitro with this team. But can they find that guy? And that's kind of why, look, we gave away the pick for Chubb, and he's a good player. But if we had that pick this year, we could have got Washington. To me, Darnell Washington on his team would be so darn scary. It would be brutal. Can you imagine a 6'7" guy, 270, on your edge to help Jackson out and to chip and go and to make those, how Tua can throw ball placement? Holy cow. So, I like Chubb, but we trade that he would have been such a nice pick for us. If we could somehow get him in this draft, holy cow. If we get Washington, I might, I might grow some hair because I'm so excited. We need a tight end that, because look what he had in San Francisco. What's the cat's name? Not Kelsey. What's the other guy? I can't remember his name right now. Anyway, the guy over there, he can block and he can catch, and that's what they need. They're missing it here. They got a bunch of pedestrian guys that aren't even great blockers. So, I mean, unless Saubert steps up. So, yeah, tight end's critical, man. So, anyway, guys, if Washington falls and we're in an area to trade up, I still think is a crazy idea. But, guys, think about it. Wilkins and Sealer, you got a 1-year rent with the two of them. If you can move off one of those guys and get a solid pick and still find that D tackle you want in the next round, I mean, we're not going to be able to keep those guys. To me, if we're moving up, who are we going to use though? How are we going to move up? We're going to trade next year's first? Maybe. If we get Washington, he's going to bring such a huge piece to our weakness in our blocking unit, in our ability to work in the red zone. Because guys, look, we got a bunch of small dudes on the outside. I mean, Chosen's not bad at 6'3", but he's not really able to totally work the red zone. He's more of like a vertical guy who's able to catch, the high pointed and maybe easy. But you brought in Darnell Washington with the way Tua can zip with that release he has and ball placement with Washington and his ability to chip and go. Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Gonna put my smile on my face. All right, guys. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate everything. You guys are the best. That's all I got to say. I'm done. I'm going to leave on. We're getting Washington in a trade up. Guys, have a good night. Talk to you soon. Yeah, but I know. I love the two of them. But as soon as we got Chubb, that's the thing. We got Chubb, but more than likely it doomed the dynamic duo of Wilkins and Sealer. And that breaks my heart. Anyway, good night, guys. Have a great draft. Let's hope the Dolphins do the right thing. We need some good picks this draft. Let's hope some magic happens. No, Lucas. Never mind, brother. I love this stuff, man. I appreciate it, guys. Get some sleep. Be well. See you soon. Let me figure out how to shut this thing down. Good night, all. You're the best. Play out.